So I'm actually in Vegas in 2003. I was a young literary agent, and I go to my room to take a break, and my phone rings, and a voice is coming through screaming at me, saying, if Marty Scorsese is going to direct this picture, do you think he gives a damn about your author's consulting? So what is my natural instinct going to be? What is your natural instinct when someone's yelling at you? Yell back, right? Read between the lines. Give them a piece of your mind. Hold your ground. So when he's yelling at me, rather than being caught up in my ego, I'm thinking about how to win. And one of the things I've learned from poker is that position is an advantage. When you're the dealer and you're last to act, you have the benefit of seeing everything that happens before you. So in a negotiation or in a business situation, being last to act means gathering more information. So as long as he's talking, I'm getting more information. The last thing I want to do is interrupt him. In fact, if he stops and asks me a question, I'll likely respond by asking him a question. And here I get more information. And you've heard that expression, we want to keep our cards close to the vest. What it really means is we want to give away as little information as possible while getting as much. And as long as he's talking, I'm sort of winning that game. I asked this question, would you rather be rich or would you rather be right? Would you rather be profitable or would you rather satisfy your ego? So if you know Big Jim lights a cigar every time he's bluffing, don't let him know how smart you are by busting his tell. Let him know how rich you are by keeping your mouth shut and keeping that information to use at a later date. True story, a friend of mine didn't graduate from college, dropped out of several schools, really bothered him. And he actually finally started to get his feet under him and got a job as a stockbroker's assistant. Worked really hard, was doing well, he was actually good at this, and he managed to finagle an interview with Merrill Lynch, and he asked me to help him. So I said, Brad, what does the manager at Merrill Lynch care about? Well, Brad wasn't a poker player, so he wasn't walking in his shoes. He goes, well, he cares if I went to college. No, that's what you care about, Brad. What does the guy from Merrill, what's the boss at Merrill Lynch care about? What's that? Can he do the job? Even easier, you guys are too smart. Money, right. Can this guy make me money? And what's the buzzword in that business for people who make money? Producer, right. So I said, Brad, you go into the interview, you use the word producer a dozen times. Say, I'm going to be the biggest producer in the office. I want to produce. I'll make 1,000 cold calls a day. I'll run through a wall to produce. I'm going to make money. Produce. So Brad, he's like, well, I didn't go to college, dude. I'm like, stop thinking about yourself. Walk in his shoes. So he goes in the interview. He's like, nothing to lose. He goes in there. He uses the word produce a dozen times. I'm going to be the biggest producer in the office. Produce. Run through all the whole thing. Sure enough, the guy never asked me if he went to college, and he got the job. He's currently being investigated by the SEC, but that's a whole other story. Wrap things up a little bit. You all want to know what it takes to be a good poker player, because I've talked mainly about business. Well, it's really the same. So we want to choose the right game. Game selection's everything. Remember our buddy Eric Drake, right? If you're the 7th best player and you're playing against the top 6, you can't win. We're going to be tight and aggressive, so we're going to play very few hands. You're going to approach things from a profit-driven approach, thinking about the future expected value, not the sunk cost, right? Not how much have I invested, but how much do I stand to win? And you're going to make your decisions based on profit and not ego. If you find yourself on tilt, knowing you know what your triggers are, you have a predetermined plan. And just remember, if you can't find the sucker at the table, you're the sucker. Thank you.